He's the tallest man on the radio, so sit right back and enjoy the show. Flying through the air like a ballistic missile. Here's your host, Ben Kissel.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Ben Kissel channel. This is the political show. I'm Ben Kissel, hanging out with Kyle Ploof.
I am not Jerry.
Check out Kyle Ploof on the Death and Entertainment podcast. Everyone knows you're not Jerry because they're currently not rubbing their groins when they look at you. All right, we got a bunch of fun stuff to get to today. We're keeping it light, we're keeping it fun, even though we're on the brink of a potential world war.
Woo!
Interesting assassination in Tehran, by the way, which we'll get to. Tehran?
Oh, boy.
My God, the military. But first, let's start off with the future. Aren't we living in it now?
I guess so.
Interestingly enough, there's a thing. It's called the Jetson Law. It just started August 1st, which is today in Minnesota. Minnesota lawmakers passed the August 1st road law that defines roadable aircraft, which means flying cars are officially legal in Minnesota, only if you're drunk. So keep in mind, we currently don't have electric cars working very well.
Right.
I don't know if we're really ready for the old flying car. I've been driving on the streets all across this fine nation of ours, and people really haven't gotten the cars that drive on pavement yet.
Yeah.
They don't really know how to operate those. But let's see what happens when they bring them to the sky. So the forward-thinking legislation, it marks a significant step forward toward integrating flying cars into everyday transportation.
That's going to be a complete nightmare.
It'll be a total shit show because it's also like, you know, people litter all the time. They roll down their windows, throw their Snicker wrappers out and their Gatorades. Just imagine just a trucker flying above you with a cup full of piss.
That's what I was going to say.
That is in said Gatorade bottle. It just smashes on your windshield. And you're like, could have done without that, buddy. And you can't even flip him off because he's way up there.
Well, me and my friends would be rolling the windows down and pissing out just to mess with people.
Well, that's very, very
Don't
true.
piss on me and tell me it's raining.
Also, thank you, Judge Judy. Judge Judy. When it comes to giving someone the full moon, where you show them your buttocks at your window, it'll be a little bit more accurate as they will have to look up to see it. So Minnesota is the second state to pass regulations allowing for flying vehicles. The law simplifies the registration status for said flying vehicles. Instead of requiring license plates, flying vehicles must secure tail numbers. I guess they're going to have tails because they're flying. I think they're just talking about small planes.
Yeah, I guess.
You know, it reminds me of Gallagher. Remember the fantastic 1980s comedian who never saw a watermelon he didn't smash? Do you know what his big idea post-comedy was?
No.
A taxi helicopter company.
Oh.
Gallagher wanted to run a taxi helicopter company, and as we know, R.I.P., one of the GOATs, Kobe Bryant, helicopters are not that safe, as is, let alone when a 1980s schlacky comedian wants to run a taxi helicopter company. But this idea of flying cars, it's been around for a long time. And now Minnesota, only the second state to say, hey, you know what? It's inevitable. And when it does happen, we're going to have the legislation put forward to make sure it's as safe as humanly possible.
They don't even have the vehicles yet, and they passed the law today.
And Minnesota's in total shambles. But I'm happy that the legislative body is really working on this.
Yeah.
After they perp-walked Al Franken out of the Senate because he took a comical video of faking grabbing a woman in a flat jacket.
Oh, boy.
Anyway, that's a whole nother story. Well, we all know it. So, flying cars are not allowed to take flight as of yet. The vehicles all must pass Federal Aviation Administration guidelines. The vehicles are going to be regulated like any other car on the ground. So you can't be speeding, although I'm not a scientist, right? But isn't, when you're traveling up, when you're in the air, and isn't speed different?
Yes.
Right.
The drag is different. Yeah, the aerodynamics are completely different.
So if you can only go like 65 miles an hour, but you got a flying car, wouldn't it just fall?
Yes and no. It depends on the size of the wing, you know.
Do you know anything about this? Or
a little bit, yeah, because
okay,
I looked into actually getting, what are they called? Not a paraglider,
Like one of those skin suits where you fly, where you fall real fast?
No, you strap like a big swamp boat fan on your back, and you got canopy above you. Those can go like 15 miles an hour and be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're talking about here.
Yeah, but I don't know if an actual aircraft that has weight to it can go that slow and not fall out of the sky.
Do you remember that movie Rocketeer?
Oh, yeah.
So I think we're kind of that's sort of real now, right?
Yeah.
Where people can kind of
actually.
fly with those little things and they kind of zoom around to give you your pizza, which is, I think, the first thing we're using that for is pizza delivery.
Hey.
And then probably being used in Ukraine and a whole series of secret wars we have all over the world. But the states are both operating ahead of technical investment in the flying car arena. So major plane corporations, they're like, ooh, this is very interesting.
Boeing's in.
Please, God, Boeing, don't be in. Boeing, stop.
Boeing presents the Gallagher Guide to Air Travel.
Oh, my. I would trust Gallagher more than Boeing.
On the first day, he'd be like, you want to see something cool? And he just throws a cantaloupe through the fucking spokes.
Yeah. We called this one the JFK Jr.
I think I just called the propeller spokes.
Oh, my God almighty. Boeing did just get a new CEO, and he said, or they said, they're going to really crack down on making sure the planes don't crash.
Yeah, they're going to crack down on the windshield so the pilots get sucked out of it.
Nonetheless, the government contract hasn't been pulled back at all, so they're still making billions and billions of dollars. So I don't think they give a fuck.
No.
Anyway, so United Airlines, speaking of airlines, they have bought a $10 million flying taxi company. They bought that in 2022. As the aforementioned, Boeing and Honeywell are also starting multi-million dollar small flight projects. So there you go. But auto manufacturers, they haven't delved into it yet. If I was an auto manufacturer, I would refocus, get into the flying car game. If that's going to be the future, Ford, Chevy, I'm looking at you. I want my Silverado to have wings.
Well, they're barely catching up to the electric vehicles. They were denying it forever, like it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. Now it is happening, and
now
they're way behind.
But now it looks like it's not going to happen again.
Oh, boy.
Instead. Okay, so car companies have focused most of their research and development, again, on self-driving and autonomous safety features. And I don't know, this is maybe just old man corner here. The self-driving thing sucks to me. I get it as an assistance if you're tired and all of a sudden you're falling asleep and the wheel's like, hey, dickhead, don't go off the road. Moron alert.
Yeah.
But if I'm sitting there and my hand's not on the wheel, first of all, I'm jerking off. That's
Yeah, exactly.
And women are padding too. Women are, there's a fire down there. There ain't no fire down there, Barb. What do you do with your hands other than use the wheel? That's the fun part of driving.
I don't know what to do with my hands. Yeah, I mean, idle hands. You got to do something.
That's the thing with the self-driving car. It's one of those things where it sounds luxurious.
Yeah.
It's like a heated toilet seat. But at the end of the day, you just sit on the toilet seat. You're going to heat it.
You just got a sweaty ass.
Well, that's very true as well. So Minnesota, they passed legislation that clears the runway for roadable aircrafts. There's a lot of rules they have to follow.
I would hope so.
Yes, of course. Currently, some major car corporations that have spent billions on self-driving tech, which again already seems like old tech to me, Tesla, GM, Ford, Honda, and Toyota, the amount of money they've spent on roadable flight technology is far smaller than, of course, the billions they have spent on the idea of flying cars.
I think that's one right above us.
And I do like the idea that it's called the Jetson Bill.
That's cool.
Because, of course, the Jetsons, they said we're going to have flying cars, and they also said we were going to have robot slaves, but we don't.
I love the conspiracy theory that the Jetsons happens before the Flintstones, and there's a nuclear holocaust that happens that sends us back to the Stone Age.
Dang.
Yeah, that could be us.
I'm a Barney guy, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
Barney Rubble.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fred's kind of a bitch. Isn't he the manager? Isn't Fred the manager of their little company they got there, their little bedrock company?
Yeah, I think he is, yeah.
Yeah, Barney's my guy.
Yeah, middle management.
Of course.
Telling people what to do.
All right. Well, speaking of, I don't know, the military and wasting a bunch of money. So the military bet $11 million because they're losing people, right?
Oh, they're into gambling.
They're into gambling.
Okay.
Basically, they are into gambling. A lot of kids are like, I don't want to go into the military because that's really going to get in the way of my video games and my obesity.
Yes.
Which, by the way, today's a big day. I started my Ozempic.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I know it's making Kyle sneeze. He's allergic. He's allergic to me being healthy.
Yeah. Goddamn.
You okay?
I think so.
All right. He's allergic to the idea of me losing weight. He's not okay. The kid stays in the picture.
Little hay fever.
Oh my God.
Oh boy.
You back, buddy?
I think so. Sorry about that.
Grief almighty.
Yeah.
Oh wow. He's a horse.
Yeah.
Anyway, I did begin my journey, so I will let you know if it works, and if someone's struggling with weight out there, perhaps it'll be a good option for them as I continue to try to get in a better shape and slightly healthier.
Beautiful.
Because some people say, ooh, Ben's getting hot again, which I never thought I was hot in the first place. But now, if I get hot again, then I'll be like, ooh, I am hot, and I am famous.
That's right.
All right. So the Army bet $11 million that the UFL was going to really get them some enlisters if they started advertising. Turns out it did not work. This is according to the military.com. The Army bet $11 million on The Rock and UFL ginning up enlistments. It may have actually hurt recruiting.
Oh, boy.
Because no one watches the UFL and is like, yeah, whatever got them on that field, I'll do.
Yeah, because it was the USFL and then the XFL that merged and became the UFL.
Right.
And I think that stripped the entire league of the XFL type branding. Like Middle America, like, yeah, let's fucking monster trucks.
Well, and interestingly enough, now with the XFL, the NFL has actually taken their kickoff rules.
That is a twist I did not see coming either.
So that'll be a whole different thing. Also, the Packers podcast, Curd and Goal, will be coming as soon as the season begins. So the Army seemingly having buyer's remorse after $11 million marketing deal with the UFL and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. The high-profile deal did not lead to a single new recruit.
Shut up.
And may possibly have had a negative impact on finding new enlistments. This is according to internal documents and emails reviewed by the military.com.
Wow.
So what a waste of frickin' money. So the Army inked the deal earlier this year with the UFL. It's obviously, that's the minor leagues of the NFL, which is interesting now, completely obsolete, because I think we can all argue the NCAA is now the minor leagues of the NFL.
Yeah.
As it's now officially a company and no longer about any collegiate athletes or things of that nature.
Yep.
So in March through June, that was when the season happened. But I love football, and I didn't know it was happening. Did you watch any UFL games?
I didn't realize. I don't even know what their television schedule was. I don't know what days they were on.
There was no advertising at all, so I don't know where the $11 million for the military went.
Yeah.
It definitely was stupid. Like, one of the people that works for the UFL also has a father who's a commander, and he's like, Dad, can you just please give us $11 million? And then he did. So the news comes as the Army is in the midst of a historic recruiting crisis that has been partially worsened by the service struggling to navigate modern marketing trends. So much of its efforts are geared towards funneling money into cable and TV style ads and marketing deals with traditional television broadcasts.
Wow.
This is stupid. All you got to do is do what they did when both of us were in high school. You go to a high school and you be like, hey, who wants to skip math class? Come, do you want to join the Navy? Do you want to be a Marine?
Yeah.
And I look at my buddy and be like, let's get the fuck out of Mrs. Killsdonk's class.
Killsdong?
Killsdonk.
Oh, man.
Mrs. Killsdonk, my favorite teacher, one of my favorite teachers of all time, Walmart Teacher of the Year, the only reason I graduated high school.
Wow.
Such an icon.
Damn.
Such a fucking icon.
She's got a great name.
Killsdonk, the best. No one messes with the donk.
Did she have a big old donk?
No.
Ah, the twist.
No, she was a Wisconsin tight.
Oh.
Yeah, not really a big booty on her whatsoever. Not that I would even think about that.
Yeah, you didn't even notice it.
I didn't notice it. She was Mrs. Killsdonk.
That's right.
And she was very sweet to me even when I shorted out all the computers in the computer lab.
Oh, how'd you do that?
I put a little pin in the light socket.
Oh.
Bet my friend Jared bet me, would I do it? And I was like, I'll take that bet. And I don't even think there was any money on the line. So anyway, that's what you got to do. Just go to where the kids are and be like, hey,
yeah,
y'all, let's talk. Instead, they're wasting all this money on advertising. Many of these advertisements are for sports, and they say the Gen Z's media diet has left most of those old school mediums behind. But what about all the Call of Duty games? What about all the military-style games?
Oh, wow.
Weren't people concerned that those were going to be used as recruitment tactics? I guess people have already gotten the bug out, and they're just like, I already went to war. I actually fought in World War II last week. It took me 46 hours to get through it.
Yeah, against British zombies.
It was quite difficult. So I wonder if the irony is, as all of this stuff is always bullshit, where it's like, video games are going to cause violence. Music is violence.
Yeah.
Words hurt. Okay. I wonder if the irony is when kids play Call of Duty, they're like, I've been there, done that. I don't want to go to Ukraine.
I've seen too much.
Yeah, PTSD. So the bulk of the deal included prominent Army branding during UFL games. Again, games that nobody watched.
Yeah.
Including service logos on the players' uniforms. But the center of gravity was around The Rock. Everyone says The Rock. If The Rock says something, the kids are going to follow.
Yeah.
But I don't know if his reach is like that. I'm not going to war. We talk about this all the time when it comes to celebrities endorsing candidates for office.
Yeah.
I'm not going to war because The Rock says it was a good idea.
No.
He didn't go to war.
He fake fought in the middle of a ring for 10, 15 years.
Whoa. Okay. Okay. Fake fought is a little, those are real fighting words. It was scripted, yes.
Yes.
But was it fake? I saw it with my own 2 eyes.
Listen, I'm a huge wrestling fan.
So the service planners are like, okay, so The Rock is going to tell these kids to go into the military. Boom. Everyone's going to love it, and we're going to get a bunch of kids to go die in a foreign land for a war that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So part of the allure of the deal was Johnson's social media reach. Johnson has 396 million followers on Instagram. Again, the platform I'm hemorrhaging followers on every day. The Army valued each, this is nuts. The Army valued each social media post as $1 million.
Woo!
$1 million.
I'd be posting all day.
Yeah, I'd be like, 30 million bucks right there. I just showed 15 pictures of my butt.
With the American flag inside of it.
Johnson did not fulfill his end of the deal, making only 2 of the 5 social media posts he was supposed to make.
Wow.
So all he had to do was make 5 social media posts. He only made 2. And because of that, the military are like, The Rock failed us.
Wow.
We hear he loves Putin.
Yeah. Well,
so because of that, the Army wants to recoup $6 million
oh, they only gave him 2.
from the UFL. So they gave him 11 million, but they're like, 5 of those are for your social media. He only did the 2, so now they want to recoup 6. It's unclear if they can. This is according to Laura DeFrancisco, a spokesperson for the Army's marketing arm. They say, we're in the process of working with the UFL to determine the final cost. DeFrancisco told military.com that some of the materials the publication reviewed on the Army's UFL deal were out of context, but declined to go further. So where's our tax dollars going? To waste, because they're giving it to The Rock to post on social media. Oh, my God.
Well, I mean, he was busy with the whole WrestleMania tour, so he was probably distracted by that.
He was distracted, and if I'm The Rock, I'm just like, y'all are real stupid.
Yeah.
I'll take it, I guess, even though technically it's not patriotic.
If you're going through The Rock, then you got to go through WWE because they have the youngest fan base. You can easily indoctrinate them and want them to go to war.
And I do think that there are, I see ads for the military when
Yeah.
watching WWE. I'm sure that they're there. I mean, now the ads are so prominent, they kind of just literally go over your head.
Yeah.
And now they're different than they used to be. Before it was like, be an army of one, be a cool ass killer.
Yeah.
And now they're very, do you like tech? Do you want to like blow a robot and control it?
Yeah.
That's kind of what they're going for. So one senior Army marketing official, he talks about how deals like this have been done for a long time. The National Guard had an $88 million NASCAR sponsorship, which also didn't lead to a single new soldier.
How do they even?
Why are they
track
doing
that?
this?
Yeah, what is going on?
I think you have to, when you go to like get a pair of pants, they're like, how'd you hear about us? And
Yeah.
you're like, I don't know. My other pants told me.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I literally think that you walk in, you're like, oh, so you want to be a Marine? How'd you hear about us? And no one's like, well, I was watching NASCAR.
Yeah.
And Tony Stewart's car, which, by the way, check out Death and Entertainment with Tony Stewart. Great conversation. He had a National Guard thing on it.
Right.
I thought if that guy can kill, so can I.
Yeah.
So, according to the UFL partnership, it was rushed through directly by General Randy George, the Army Chief of Staff.
It was rushed.
It was rushed. So this is what they had to say when it comes to Johnson not posting anything on Instagram. They say, in terms of The Rock, it's unfortunate he has pulled away at a time when we expected him to be present with us to create content for the social media channels. I think we might be losing our next war. I really do. That's according to Colonel Dave Butler.
Because The Rock's fucking posting about Terramana tequila.
And why wouldn't he? He likes tequila. He doesn't like war. They go on to say, but we're working with the UFL to rebalance the contract. The Rock remains a partner to the Army. So I guess kind of like, fuck you, The Rock, sort of, for taking the money and not doing the work.
Yeah.
Anyway, Gen Z has almost completely moved away from traditional television. So that's why the military is like, what are we going to do? So the average NCAA coverage is roughly 10 times that of the UFL. So they're trying to get into the NCAA. According to a 2022 Morning Consult poll, 33% of Gen Zers do not watch live sports compared to 22% of millennials. So millennials, 78%, they'll watch live sports.
Yeah.
And not nearly as many as Gen Z. So now the military is like, how are we going to get these people to join our ranks?
Well, not The Rock, because when it comes to The Rock in the military, The Rock became a rolling stone.
Indeed, he did. He completely biffed it, and I'm a little bit miffed, actually, at The Rock. You're going to take all the taxpayer money.
Yeah.
Just post on social media. Anyway.
Yeah, it's so easy.
A bit of a good story when it comes to Joe Biden. He has done something in his old, strange age. Evan Gershkovich. Evan Gershkovich. There we go. He was a Wall Street Journal reporter. He was being held in Russia. He is officially on his way home. This is fantastic. Evan, he was wrongfully detained in Russia's penal system for 491 days. He was facing a 16-year prison sentence. I'm assuming it's because they thought he was a spy or something like that.
Did we have to trade him out for an arms dealer again?
No.
Well, that's good.
They actually just got him without giving away a war criminal.
For a basketball player.
That's a whole controversial thing. I'm happy she's back. That was just like, it was a lot.
Yeah.
Anyway, she's playing in the Olympics. She's representing Team USA.
That's nice.
So Gershkovich, the family, they joined President Biden at the White House as he delivered remarks about the freed detainees. He says, welcome almost home. This is where Biden's going to be soon. In an almost home, which is where you go when you're almost dead. So he shared a photo of the Wall Street Journal correspondent Yaroslav Trofimov.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Yeah. Showed newly freed Evan, ex-U.S. Marine Paul Wheeler, and journalist Alusa Kurmasheva holding up the American flag in Turkey. Turkey, by the way, we have to admit, the best shooters around come from Turkey.
Oh, yeah?
Did you see that guy in the Olympics?
No.
He's a Turkish dude. So they do this thing where it's shooting, right? And everyone else has all this gear on. They got all this bullshit where it's like there's a picture of their ex-wife, in their eye socket, so they really know where to aim.
Yeah.
This guy just showed up. He's got sunglasses, a couple of earbuds in, and just popped. He got silver. He was just amazing.
So this is like the rifles.
This is a handgun.
Whoa. They got handguns at the Olympics now?
Yes, it's straight up John Wick, the entire thing. It's incredible. So Turkey, I ain't messing with your snipers. So this is what Biden said. He says they're out of Russia. Earlier today, they were flown to Turkey, and soon they will be wheels up on their way home to see their families. So that is a fantastic story. Horrible ordeals all around. Now this is what they say. They say now their brutal ordeal is over, and they're free. Moments ago, families and I were able to speak to them on the telephone from the Oval Office, which is really, why does the president always get the first call?
Yeah.
That's the last person I want to talk to when I'm being freed. I'll be like, can we get on Jill on the phone, please? I really don't want to talk to your old ass. But anyway, the Gershkovich family has broke their silence, which must have been so difficult for them. So I'm so happy that their baby boy is coming home. They say, we have waited 491 days for Evan's release, and it's hard to describe what today feels like. We can't wait to give him the biggest hug and see his sweet and brave smile up close.
Wow.
The most important thing now is taking care of Evan and being together again. This is what the families also say. They say no family should have to go through this, and so we share relief and joy today with the Paul and Alous families. So, my God, thank God they're coming home.
Is there any transparency in Russia on how like they treat their prisoners, or is it all like work camps and?
You know what, buddy? I'm just gonna go with it. Not good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go not good. But then again, we also treat our prisoners horribly.
Yeah, but not as bad as like those working camps.
Well, it's colder there. They send them up to like where a bunch of, I forget, Wolverine? One of these X-Men characters, where they're from. It's super cold. No one's there.
Right.
It's pretty devastating. But
well, luckily he came home. There was a guy that
great that they're home. Yes.
Yeah, we had to negotiate to come back from Korea, and they were in a working camp, and they beat him so bad that when he came back, he died the next day.
Oh my God! Well, that was the North Korean, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That was Otto beer.
Yeah. Otto Warmbier or something.
Yeah, Otto Warmbier. Something like that. Oh, that was brutal. Yeah, they say his teeth were all obviously put back in.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Awful.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about foreign affairs. We don't get into them too often on this show. We mostly focus on domestic, but of course, if it comes to war, that will be a domestic issue at some point. So let's travel over to the beautiful nation of Iran.
Ooh.
And Tehran. There was a dude, his name is Ismail Haniyeh, and he's dead. And he was killed in the capital of Iran, which again is in Tehran, as they were going to be anointing a new leader of Iran after their former leader died in a plane crash, which, that just happens all the time. In no way were we complicit. And I'm not even saying if that's a bad or good thing. It just is what it is. So because of this, there's fears now that war could break out even more. Obviously, Iran is a strong supporter of Palestine, specifically of Hamas, who are in charge of Palestine. And I always separate the two because the Palestinian people and Hamas are not necessarily copacetic when it comes to their beliefs. What happened is so freaking crazy. They're saying the strike was done by Israelis, but of course that means it was us as well. So this dude, Ismail, he was in his hotel room, and he looks out his window, and all of a sudden, a missile shoots through the window from the sky, and boom, the dude is dead. An assassination attempt from a foreign nation in Iran. Very, very interesting.
In a hotel.
In a hotel.
So other people died?
No, it was just him. Man, you've seen all like the satellites and shit like that. We're all like living in a microchip now.
Sure, yeah.
They'll just pop you.
Yeah.
You can be popped anywhere at any time. They're just like boop, 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 because that's me doing math and computer. Boop, 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 boop. And then boom, you just have a bullet through your freaking brain. You're like, where did that come from?
Wow.
No one's there. A little drone stops and flicks you off.
But it was a missile.
Bye-bye. It was
like send him a missile from the minibar.
Yeah, something like that. So, Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, he says that there's going to be a harsh punishment. But, of course, the last time Iran said there was going to be a harsh punishment, they sent a bunch of missiles over to Israel, and Israel was like, boop, 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 and got them all out of the sky with their Iron Dome.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Hamas also spoke, and they said there's going to be dire consequences for the strike that killed its political leader. Hezbollah, another Iran-backed ally in the axis of resistance, promised to stir up anti-Israel sentiment amongst its allies. And the Houthis, based in Yemen, said it marks a major escalation in the Middle East. So here it's a headline, and there it's going to change the lives of everyday citizens.
Damn. So
it comes after Hezbollah terrorists blasted a football pitch in the Druze town of Majda Shams, is Israel's occupied Golan Heights, killing 12 young people, including children. Oh. So there was a strike that happened recently. These kids were playing, and then boom, they were dead. Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu vowed that he was going to have a deadly strike. And again, this is why peace is very difficult to come by, because it's a tit for tat, it's an eye for an eye, and now everyone is blind with big tits. So Mossad assassins could easily have eliminated Hanai in any other way, but they did not. Instead, they chose to do it in a much more public way, which is having him killed in Tehran. So,
jeez.
Yes, indeed. Hanai had just one bodyguard. I'm sorry. Hanai and just one bodyguard were killed. It was a precision missile strike as they slept in a military veterans building in Tehran. So they were sleeping. I guess he was sleeping right by a security guard. I guess you don't call them boyfriends anymore.
Cuddle me.
Please.
I want to feel safe.
For security, I think it's best if you're in me. Just because, you know. Israel's Shin Bet intelligence arm somehow discovered exactly which room he was staying in. A guided missile was then fired through the window of his room and detonated inside, killing him and his, air quotes, aide, again, we'll just call him lover, instantly.
If you can do it that precise, my God.
It's crazy, bro.
The Right to Die Act, that's what I want. Just while I'm sleeping, just send a precision missile right in and just take me out. That's it. I just want to be asleep.
Oh, it's better than ALS. So the move was intended to limit political fallout, which I'm not sure about all that.
Yeah.
However, obviously, Iranians were pretty freaking pissed off. A direct attack on Iranian soil and the death of its close ally will, of course, put pressure on Tehran to hit back at Israel. And, of course, if they hit back at Israel, they're basically hitting back on the U.S., and the war machine continues to hum. Hours before the strike, this dude sat along other leaders from Iran's so-called Axis of Resistance. That's Hezbollah, the Houthis, and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad. What a great bunch of guys.
Yeah.
What a nice bunch of guys. And the terror groups, dressed in suits, sat alongside one another in the front row for the swearing in of Iran's new president. God, today's episode with names are killing me, Smalls. Masoud Pezeshkian. Masoud Pezeshkian. I'm trying. And they were also chanting death to America and death to Israel. That's fun.
Hacks.
Well, you know, it's a fun thing to chant, I guess. Yeah. That was from the crowd outside. So a bunch of people were outside being like, death to Israel, death to America. And then they were inside and they were like, want some cheese? So the tensions continue to rise. Oh, my goodness gracious. Yeah, wow. As we mentioned on episodes previous, 35,000 Palestinians or more have been killed by Israeli forces. That's, of course, after the October 7th attack. That cost 1,700 people or 1,200. Well, we can always round up.
Yeah,
either way.
It's always more than what they say, I'm sure.
Thousands of people, their lives, which is very sad. Okay, let's move on just a bit to domestic policy. Looks like J.D. Vance is the worst VP choice since Thomas Eagleton. You know Thomas Eagleton?
I don't.
Dude, Thomas Eagleton. So he's this guy McGovern, right? He was running for president, and he chose this guy Eagleton. And Eagleton, he was vetted, right? But they didn't ask him, like, are you crazy? And it turned out he was. Literally batshit. So the guy couldn't speak publicly. And so he would go and he would try to speak. He would start sweating profusely. He would like break out in hives. Oh. It was hilarious, right? But then it cost McGovern the election. So J.D. Vance is being compared to him simply because of all of the problems that J.D. Vance seems to have. And we're not just talking about our previous episode where we discuss his love of potentially fucking couches. This is according to his college friend. Of course, he went to law school. Like all hillbillies.
Yeah.
You know all hillbillies went to law school.
Just the average yokel.
Yeah, I was a moonshiner. Went to Yale. Came back, wrote a book. Got into the Senate. I kind of figure myself a hillbilly.
I'm a man's man.
Lying pieces of trash. This is according to one of his best friends from law school. His last name is Nelson. Sounds like a friend from law school, fucking Nelson. He says, what I've seen is a chameleon. This is, of course, talking about J.D. Vance. What I've seen is a chameleon. Someone who is able to change their positions and their values depending on what will amass them political power and wealth. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really unfortunate because it reflects a lack of integrity. And I will say this, one thing hillbillies have, integrity.
Sure.
That's what they have.
Yeah.
They don't like the law breathing down their necks. But if a hillbilly tells you something, don't go down that road now.
Yeah.
Don't go down that road now.
I'm not going there.
And if you do, we know what happens.
Mm-hmm.
The Sawyer family from Texas Chainsaw Massacre is about to destroy you, eat you, and
Make a
maybe you should
nipple
belt you. Because, you know, Leatherface, he's also on Ozempic.
Yeah.
Yeah, Leatherface is taking Ozempic now. So he's got his little suspenders full of nipples. Oh, boy, Leatherface. Hillbillies don't lie. Mm-hmm. And that is why that's why J.D. Vance is no hillbilly. So they go on to say, this isn't someone who evolved on one or two issues with new information. This is someone who's changed their opinion on literally every imaginable issue that affects everyday Americans in this country. If I'm Donald Trump, again, now that Harris is on the top of the ticket, I've mentioned this many times before, I think he's going to have buyer's remorse. And every single ad that's being run of J.D. Vance being like, I think Trump's got a big butt and he's an asshole. If I'm Trump, I'd be like, bro, fuck. Yeah. This guy, I'm sure that J.D. bamboozled Donnie.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure he sat down and was super charming and was like, I just love you. Can I see your cock? Can I see it? Just, I've heard it's so big. And Donald, that's all you got to do is, rub the ego, smack the butt a little bit. But now all of those things that J.D. Vance said not long ago is making it very difficult for anyone to believe that he actually thinks that Donald Trump is going to be a good president.
Yeah.
Again. So many people that knew J.D. Vance are now coming forward and just being like, that's not the J.D. that I know. Again, he went to law school. He is certainly no hillbilly.
And looks like my evil cousin.
He really does. Also, when it comes to Harris, the Trump campaign, they are feeling it. So Donnie Trump, he must be a little bit scared of Harris. He has launched a new ad blitz. He's going to the 6 battleground states. They've just launched a $10 million advertising campaign. Although I'll tell you one thing, he doesn't really need any help getting his name out in the press because he recently talked to the National Association of Black Journalists, and my God, did he make some waves.
It was hilarious.
I mean, it was something. So he said, basically, he said, Kamala is not black. She's South Indian. And then he's like, when I met her, she was Indian. Now she's black. Anyway, there was a lot going on there.
She was a very nice Indian woman.
Yeah, she was a nice Indian woman. I don't know if it really played very well. Again, J.D. Vance called it hysterical. So he was like laughing a little bit there. Anyway, it is interesting to see now the Trump campaign desperately trying to figure out the ways to attack Harris. The one way that I thought would be the smartest would be immigration, her record, things of that nature. But of course, Donnie being Donnie, he's going to bring up some social issues.
Yeah.
This is the exact same thing he did with Elizabeth Warren. And obviously, the small kernel of truth is Harris, like all politicians, are shapeshifters.
Yeah.
And I think she realized that being identified as black might be more politically beneficial in this case. So that's what she's going with. Anyway, Harris, she was also doing this thing that the Clintons used to always do. She's been mocked a little bit over her Southern accent. She doesn't have one.
It's a black scent.
Yeah, it's something. So she was speaking to Atlanta, people in Atlanta, Atlanteans, and she did what many politicians do, which is attempting to relate to the common folk of wherever they are at. Because of that, she decided to put on a Southern drawl. It used to work. This actually used to be like politically a huge bonus when you could do it. Bill Clinton, when he was in Washington, was Bill, and he would go south, he's Bubba, and he would talk all fucking stupid. And then he would go and talk like, I'm still a piece of shit. Don't worry, guys.
Yeah.
It's code switching is what it's called. It's just you can't do it anymore because the cameras are everywhere. Everything you're saying is for the nation, basically. Yeah.
We gonna win, y'all!
And same thing with Donald Trump. He's attempting to talk to one group of people, being like, by the way, she's not black, and then also make a point that she's a liar. I'm not exactly certain. Either way, it's if you totally remove yourself from reality, yes, it is funny. But it's also like horrible.
The way he said it too, he's like, she was a very nice Indian woman when I first met her, and now she's turned into this black person.
It's something. It is something. So the Democratic candidate accent has definitely changed throughout whoever she's speaking with. And she says, y'all helped us win in 2020, and we're going to do it again in 2024. And she did it again with a bit of a hee-haw accent.
Yeah.
And the one thing you can say about Donnie is he always does sound the fucking same.
Yeah.
For better or for worse. Mostly the latter, but sometimes, again, if it was a movie, this was the film Bulworth, you'd be like, that's pretty funny. Yeah. But then It's real. And as we've talked about, we're on the verge of a potential World War III. So it's just nice American politics haven't gotten any better. Anyway, well, we'll get into much more of the policy stuff as the show continues on. Let's see. Harris, I think she's going to make her nominee, or she's going to say who she wants to be, who she wants to be her VP Monday, which I think is going to be big. My fingers crossed it's Mark Kelly. I like Mark Kelly a lot, and I think that he would put Arizona in play, truly. And, of course, whatever else happens.
I like the wrestling type reveal to be like, I'm going to do it at the rally. You'll see it live.
You'll see it live. Everything's a show now. Back in the day, they would just like put out a memo, be like, I got this fart bag with me now. And everyone's like, oh, it's Al Gore, sweet.
Now it's just somebody out there, and then the Undertaker's music hits.
Oh, my God. That's fucking sweet. I love it. All right, everyone. Thank you all so much for listening. Have a wonderful rest of your day, whatever you're doing. Thank you so much for supporting the show. We really appreciate you. Hail yourselves, everyone. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.